I don't have a lot of things to say about the Tin T2 Pluses. They're good for a budget IM, and they're good for a starter IM if you just got into the hobby. But I personally won't buy this if I had a chance to. This is actually Jason's unit. He is lending me this for the review. Yeah, I'm not getting paid nor influenced to say anything good or bad about this. All thoughts and opinion are mine and mine alone. Yeah, this has quite a pleasant tuning. Not the best, but it's okay. It's okay. It's good. The tuning's good. Has a solid tonality. A bit peaky on the treble, a bit grainy on the upper mids, but they're okay. Build wise, they're the butts, not the butts. This part is actually pretty amazing. They're full metal. They're fully metal and very smooth. No rough edges, not anything. Quite an upgrade from what the tins used to be. These are the Tin T3s, and this would fit most ears better than that. But for my ears, specifically for my ears, I like the fitting of these actually better than that, because the back part here hits the back of my ears, like the ass of the IM hits the back of my ears. So yeah. Oh, and they use the MMCX connector, which all tins always use. I'm always afraid of pulling out the MMCX connector on tin IMs because they don't have actually the best quality control track record. The Tin T3, the left side of my Tin T3 is actually broke for no bloody reason, and you probably know the problems about the Tin T4's MMCX connectors failing. Only the wire though, not the actual IM, or the female part of the MMCX connector just fell inside the IM. That's just rip. The wire it looks great. It looks amazing. See, it's silver. It's soft. It's good. But when you're actually holding them, you will notice that these are actually crap. By crap, I mean they have bad materials. I mean they feel very nice. They feel very soft, but they're extremely light. Extremely light, like abnormally light. You see, look at this 3.5 millimeter jack. Yeah, look at this. I have the exact same one here, and these are twice as heavy as that. This is an old wire. This is like 5 to 7 year old wire. Yeah, and these are heavier than these, like at least twice as heavy. I have another one connected to my Z7s. Let me pull the thing up a bit. Yeah, these are also twice as heavy as these. So I don't know if they put something in these, but if you just look at them, you'll notice that these just look like crap. The tin cables. So yeah, I won't trust these cables actually, but they do feel good. The tips they use the regular Chi-Fi tips. I'm using the Final Audios because it's the best sounding for me. If you pair it with the tins, you might hear the sound of my dog barking. So yeah, just gotta have to live with it. The box is actually a downgrade from what tins usually use as boxes. I haven't got the tin P1's boxes, so I don't know how they look like, but the T2s and the T3s have excellent looking boxes actually. So the box here is just, yeah, also you got the classic tin foams, which are excellent foams. I love the tin foams so much that I won't use them because I'm afraid of getting them dirty, and this is also Jason's unit, so I'm not going to use them because gross. The sound, the bass are okay, adequate. The bass are an adequate amount. Very decent extension at the sub bass because you got no mid bass bloat here. So if you don't like mid bass bloat, then this is definitely a good buy for you. There are also good transparency qualities to them. They're definitely not much if you're looking for a lot of bass. These don't have a lot of bass. Tins usually don't have a lot of bass. If you're looking for good or decent kick and slam, no, you're not getting them here. That's the problem about the bass here. These have less bass than the T3s in my opinion, but that doesn't actually make sense because the tin trees are graphed. Let me check the graph in the tin trees. Yeah, they're supposed to have less bass than these, but I hear more here for some reason. Maybe I forgot because these broke like a long time ago, so yeah. But the bass are not much, especially if you're comparing them to, for example, the Starfields or even the Sony MH755, which is still the #1 recommendation here. The mids. The mids are decent. They're not shouty at all. If you're tired of the shout of the Starfield, for example, yeah, these don't have that shout, the Harman shout. But I do hear a bit of grain in the upper mids when you listen to, for example, Hello from Adele. Yeah, you're gonna hear a bit of grain when she's going for the belt or she's going for the refrain of the music. You're gonna hear a bit of grain there, maybe because of the lack of resolution, probably, or because the peaks on the treble, on the mid treble to low treble, probably. I'm not very educated in the educated as the why does this thing sound grainy in particular, because I haven't researched a lot about the graininess of the T2 pluses. I just hear them, and I need to make this review as fast as possible. The treble is actually pretty well extended here. You can get a lot of quite the air frequencies, especially at the above 11K. Yeah, these have pretty good extension. There are peaks also if you're very sensitive to sibilance. This is definitely not a sibilant headphone. This is a well extended, but not a bit. It's not as well controlled as probably the Starfields, but these, I feel like the Starfields have quite a lacking on the treble proper. That's what the headphone show would say, treble proper, which means like the 5 to the 9K mark. Yeah, 5K to 9K or 6K to 9K. Yeah, those don't have quite the energy that I would want in the Starfields, but this would definitely suffice that cravings, if I could say. Yeah, the peaks here are actually they don't bother me because I listen to a lot of peaky IMs. For example, my all-time favorite IM, the Sony X1000, which is very peaky. Like, these are peaky as fuck. So yeah, the tonality and timbre of the Tin T2 Plus are pretty decent. Yeah, they're a bit thin for my taste. They're a bit hazy. They're a bit foggy. They're a bit misty, if that makes sense. These don't have that image clarity. That's actually the other part. But the tonality wise, these are actually pretty good, except for probably when you're looking for this a bassier instrument, like for example the cello or the bass guitars. They don't have the body or the warmth of those, the natural warmth of this cello and the bass guitar as good as probably the Starfields or the MH755. They definitely don't have that Harman dip in the mid range, which would bother some people, including me. The sound stage of these are actually pretty less than stellar. They don't have good sound stage. They have okay sound stage. They're narrower than these. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to mention that I'm going to compare these to the Starfields, the MH755, the final E3000, the ZS10 Pros, and the Blondes. But I don't have the Blondes right now because they're at Jason and he's reviewing them. Imaging's average. Imaging's fine. The separation is dog shit. Definitely the weakest part of the Tin T2 Plus are the separation. Everything just that feels like clumped together, which makes everything sounds a bit intense, but not intense as peaky, but intense as everything just feels congested here, which is weird because they have actually good air qualities and extended treble. But to me, they just sound a bit clumped. The final ear tips actually helped reducing that clumping qualities, that suppressed qualities from the Tin T2 Plus. But still, overall, there's still a little bit of. They still have shitty separation. Detail and resolution are decent, but not stellar. You can find. They don't have the best image clarity, as I mentioned before. They sound a bit too hazy for me, for my taste, and there's like something covering. There's like they sound a bit low res. Just a little bit. They have good tonality, but they just sound a bit low res to me. I don't know why. I've asked Jason about the low res quality of the Tin T2 Pluses, and he said no, I don't hear them, but I do for some reason. Probably because the difference in my ear canal, or they just sound a bit hazy to me. They don't have that clarity like the Starfields or the final E3000. So yeah, that's gonna be a huge problem for me, but not to most beginners. That's why I'm recommending these for if you just got into audio. Why am I recommending them? Yeah, that's the next point. Because when you're starting the journey, you want something that has good tonality. You want something to have good tuning. Why? Because in most IMs, in starter IMs especially, you're not getting a lot of technicalities. You're not getting a wide stage. You're not getting good imaging. You don't expect that, but you could expect good tuning, and that's gonna be a huge foundation for your for you building towards better IEMs, because there are expensive IEMs with terrible tunings, but cheap, like most cheap IEMs have terrible technicalities, or at least subpar technicalities, including the blondes, including the Sony MH755. They have subpar technicalities. These just have a little bit worse to my ears, actually. Even the Tin T2s, the original Tin T2s, to me have better technicalities than these. Yeah. Why I'm not recommending these two, if you have like a solid foundation of IEMs. For example, you have the Starfields. You have the Starfields, and you have like the, for example, the final E3000, or you got something more expensive like the Shosies, like the Shosies. But if you're looking for a different sound, you're definitely gonna get it from here, but there are other IEMs that I would recommend over these. For example, the Tin T2s, the original Tin T2s, I would recommend those over these if you have already a solid foundation of IEMs. If you don't, then this is a much more all-rounder than the Tin T2s, definitely, because Tin T2s have no bass. Comparing them to the finals, I'm going to compare the finals first. The final has their own quirk. The finals have their own quirk. They have a bit boosted mid bass, which I don't usually like, but they're fine here because yeah, their bloat doesn't. They have a little bit of boost, not much, but a little bit. So it's actually fine, but they don't have sub bass, which is a problem. They don't actually have treble, but they have good mid-range and good separation, which is excellent for the price that they have right now. They also have a very nice mid-range tonality. I like the tonality in the Tin T2s a bit better as an overall tonality. They have a lack of treble. The finals have lacking treble, which the Tin T2 Plus doesn't have. Are very well extended here. The comfort wise, I would much prefer here the finals. They have a bit more kick and slam in the bass too, because of that little bump in the mid bass. So yeah, these have their own quirk, but the Tin T2 Pluses does not. Against the MH755, these are $5 to $8. These are $50. I'm gonna get the MH755 because how amazing and cheap they are. But the tuning is actually still better on the Tin T2 Pluses, in my opinion. These are very bassy. These are very sub bass focused. If you have the finals and you have the MH755, you can easily differentiate the boosts in the mid bass of the finals and the boost and the sub bass, and the sub bass focus on the MH755. So these actually have quirks, but these does not. The KZs, these are the only thing I would not recommend over the Tin T2 Plus even if you're experienced, because these just does not sound right. I'm not gonna sell them. I love them because they're my first IEM. Actually, they're not, but they're my first Chi-Fi IEM. But yeah, I used to be a headphone guy, and these are the first entry for me to the Chi-Fis, like the Tins, etc. And these don't have good tonality. These are just classic Chi-Fi V-shaped, while these have actually good tuning, the Tin T2s, the ZS10 Pros. If you're looking for huge, thick, throbbing bass, yeah, you'll get the ZS10 Pros. So like crazy kicks in the bass region and crazy treble spikes, like EX1000 level of spikes. ZS10 Pros if you're looking for that extremely V-shaped sound. But if you're looking for something with vocals, with actually vocals, if you're only listening to EDM and you don't need any vocals, or all your vocals are heavily edited or like auto-tune, yeah, you can get here, you can get the ZS10 Pros. But if you have anything with natural vocals, if you're listening to jazz music or anything with natural vocals, yeah, you'll get the TNT2 Plus over the ZS10 Pros. The Starfields is why I'm not recommending. Actually, I'm not gonna compare them to the TNT3s because I forgot the sound of the TNT3s. The Starfield is why I'm not gonna recommend these for much more experienced audio, because Starfields exist, and technicality wise these are better at everything that these do. Tuning wise, these have more treble extension, and that's it. These also have a bit of scoop in the mid-range from Harman, but these are a bit like less, not as Harman, not as V-shaped as Harman. So these, I actually like these better than how Harman tune, a lot of Harman tune IEMs. So yeah, I'd recommend Starfields over the year here, even though they're $50 more expensive. $50 for the bum. The technicalities, $50 are actually very worth it. Okay, that's it for my video, I guess. Oh yeah, the blondes. Either get these or the blondes for if you're a starter, if you're starting out. Blondes have a nice, very consumer-friendly sound, very bloated bass, which I don't personally like, but they have good tonality and tuning. But these are brighter and less bass. So pick your poison. You can pick the blondes, or you can pick the TNT2 Pluses if you're starting out. But more experienced listeners would probably don't like those. The blondes, a lot of people like the blondes. Okay, I like the blondes, but they're not the amazing everything killer as a lot of people would say, and the TNT2 is the same. Yeah, so that's my video. Don't forget to watch Jason's video. I'm gonna link it here or put it somewhere up here. He has different tastes than mine, very different, and yeah, see you next time. Godspeed.